Good morning, class. We are studying the sixth unit, that is simulation and modeling. Let us revise in short what we have learned up till now. What is simulation? A process of creating and analyzing a prototype to predict or to identify the performance of a system in real world. It is more general, conceptually richer, paradigm and based on activities. It is one of the definitions. That is, it is a specific richer in activities. It is a model based activities. It is a process of designing a real system, conducting experiments for studying the strategies or evaluating the system. Uses for optimization, then to select a specific material to simulate the failure and identify conditions, then calculations, prototypes. And these are the benefits of this simulation system. You can take the readings based on the time, based on a particular calculations. Then you can understand which is the prominent variable factor. If in a system you are considering certain parameters, which is the prominent parameter, which is not that affecting parameter, and what happens when you reduce a particular parameter and add it. So that means you understand the system. Then why it is? Because easier, cheaper and faster. Yeah, there is no need for you to build the real system. You can build a model and then you can simulate that. You can build a model and then you can simulate that, and you can do it on a computer or laptop screen. You can use certain tools and softwares for it, and here are numerous applications for it like safety, testing, education, etc. And then we have seen the basic steps in formulation of simulation. What are the basic steps in that? So what are the steps? It is like problem formulation, then setting up of objectives, model conceptualization, data collection, model transformation, verification, validation, experimental design, product design, documentation and implementation. So we have seen the various steps in the simulation process. What exactly you do in simulation? First of all, you find a problem, then you set what objectives, then you conceptualize the model, you collect data, then you go for transformation, then you verify the model you have created, that is the simulation model, then you validate it, then you conduct some experiments, and finally you come for its design, documentation and implementation. Then simulation is done to study a particular system. So system can be anything which is having certain parameters. So basically based on that type of system, the simulation is classified as discrete, continuous and mixed simulation. Discrete system means the system changes at even times, that is at a certain point of time, but continuous simulation is the simulation of the system which changes continuously. And there are the examples like the ocean waves for continuous system, and when you can say a truck travels on a highway, so it is often, very often, it is very often, but it is not continuous. So that is discrete and continuous simulation. Then there are mixed simulation, dynamic and stochastic. Stochastic means what ends with they operate with random input. Then we have seen through these diagrams what exactly we do in simulation. We take a real world problem, we go for simulation model, and then we apply that model in the real world. And if there are certain changes in that model, you can do it at this level itself, in the simulation model itself. So it is a research problem, conceptual, simulation, and then you go again feedback data. Then these kinds of models, what do you mean by that? Then what are certain examples of simulation? Like certain situations where it is not practically possible to go for the actual run, there you could go for simulation. Then what do you mean by experimental design? What is validation? What is verification? Then what are the different kinds of models and what do you mean by system? So we have seen models like physical, which can be static and dynamic. Static means it does not vary with the time. You cannot apply the time factor in the static model. Dynamic means you can apply, it changes with time, it is runtime. Then again mathematical model, they can be static or dynamic. And then dynamic model can be analytical, numerical. Static model can be analytical, numerical. And one of the numerical models in mathematical model, that is system simulation. Now what is system? Basically a group of objects required together system. Entity, anything, task, unit of work, activity. Then state of system, discrete, that is a production line, continuous, it changes with respect to time. What is system modeling? That is to represent a particular system, we make a model. It is not a system, it is about investigation of system. Then what do you mean by model, system, state of a system? At a particular instant of time, the values, the representation of a system by different variables, that you call as a state of a system. Then you know by entity, and we have seen clearly the difference between The activity, action and event. Event is the instantaneous occurrence. Activity is continued over a certain period of time, and action it is series of such changes. Then what do you mean by transform? That when we change one system from other, that is, but the components are not changed. An action that changes the attributes but not the component, that is the component is the same but its attributes will change. Attributes means its properties may change, so that is called as a transformation. So the system has been transformed. That means you are not changing the actual component. The component of the system will be same but the attributes will be changed. Then process, a series of state change within a component during a time span. Now we have taken certain examples of systems, like a system is a banking system, a system is in your admission process, that could be one kind of system. So when you fill up the admission form, then you apply for the banking process, you fill the online form, then you pay the online fees, then you get back that receipt, you submit or you make it available at certain place, and then you get a specific number or a particular thing is allotted to you. So that is a kind of system. In a banking system, a customer enters into the bank, inquires about the open account, he opens certain account, he withdraws some amount, he deposited certain amount, so that kind of system. So transform is when the component change but the attributes are changed but the components are same. Process, that is a series of change in the particular state, so that is called as a process. That is for now you when you say the process means it is a series of changes that is continuously occurring. An action that split the components or join the components. When you split the component or join the component, that you called as split. Split means suppose there are two different components. Now you join those two components to make one part. So that because a system may consider a certain number of components, you can call them as component which are transformed. Now when you join those components, that will be called as split join. Now the different kinds of system you have seen is discrete system, continuous system, now feedback system. So almost every system is generally a feedback system. Whatever the system, every system is generally a feedback system. So what do you basically mean by feedback system? Now we understand there can be two types of system, and the part other than the system that you call as surrounding. The surrounding impacts the system. When you are going to study the system where you can see the effect of the particular vehicles running over a bridge, what is their effect? So on that kind of system, what happens, the vehicles will move continuously. So when a particular vehicle comes, it affects the system. So it affects the system, that means it changes that system, that changes its value, changes its reading. So it is interacting with its surrounding. So when it is interacting with the surrounding, or it may be independent of its surroundings, the system can be of very many types. So we have majorly seen two systems, that is discrete system and continuous system. Discrete system means when the changes occur at a specific time, but continuous system means the changes are occurring continuously. Suppose if you want to study the effect of the tides of the ocean, that means the waves of the ocean, and you have certain thing placed over it and how does it affect, so it is continuously changing, so that is continuous system. Now any system, it is being created and it is being experimented for only one of the reasons, so that you should improve it, you should make it better. Why we are going for these trials and everything, and why we are going for simulation? Because we want to make it better. So for that, feedback is utmost essential. Almost every application, every system that is in use, that is been applied, it is a feedback system. If an exogenous activity is available in system, then it is said to be an open system. It depends on the performance of the system, it depends on the coupling between the input and output of system, then it is itself called system, which receives its own output as an input. So in very simple definition, you can understand a system which receives its own output as an input. So that means you give a particular output and then you can use that output as an input with the new input for a system, that is called as a feedback system. Feedback system, it is, for example, it is very simple system. You are taking one trial and then you are checking a specific trial. So if it is up to the mark, you have conducted one experiment, and after the experiment you get certain results. Now you do validate those results, and if because of that validation, because when you validate those results, you can have certain findings, you can go for certain conclusions. The system may be up to mark, or it may be too fast, it may be too slow, or in very simple words you can say it is not exactly as been desired. That is, we want suppose output A and we are not getting A, we are getting something other than A, maybe less than A, maybe higher than A, maybe something very different than A. So that is an entirely another part. We are not getting that output which is required. So that is A output. So what we do in that case, that feedback we provide again. Then after that feedback we can make the necessary changes. And when you make the necessary changes, you again get a particular output out of it. So when your output, it is acting as an input to get another one output, that is called as a feedback system. So in very simple ways, if you are your assessment and then improvement, so that is the part of the feedback system, and that is the only aspect, that is the prominent aspect of a feedback system, or that is the only thing about feedback. Why feedback? Because when you do a certain activity in a system, then you vary and then you measure its performance, and if that performance is up to the mark, it is a go ahead, and if it is varies, if it deviates in any way, then you can go for the correction. There can be thousands of examples, of feedback system. We'll see them one by one, but let us try to understand this with a very simple diagram what we are seeing here. So there is suppose a kind of input that you are giving to the system. You have given certain input to this system. A system could be anything. Suppose you are measuring voltage by a voltmeter for a particular equipment, or you want to measure the revolutions per minute using the tachometer, or with any kind of particular equipment or a instrument, you have to measure something. Now when you are measuring it, you are getting specific readings, so that you are going to the, so you have given certain input to the system. Now after you give a particular input to the system, you are going to measure it. What you are going to, you are going to measure that with a measuring element. So suppose this is your system. So this is where they are in a system. It is a system where a particular wheel is rotating and you have to measure its RPM. Now you are given a certain input. Certain input means like this, means you must have supplied certain electric current, or by any kind of force, a mechanical, a hydraulic, or any kind of force that you have applied here, a pneumatic force, and with that help of that particular force you have generated certain RPM. A particular thing is moving there, and then you have to measure its performance. So by a measuring element, by if you are measuring RPM, then you can use a tachometer. For voltage measuring, you can use a voltmeter, or whatever it is, whatever you have to measure. So you are measuring the performance of the system. Now the value that you get, now you get suppose this value. So there are certain set points. Suppose you have said that you want it to be 5 units, whatever it may be. It may be 5 volts, 5 ampere, 5 revolutions per second, or what can it be. Suppose if you wanted the output, that is, you have set a particular range. Suppose that range is 5 unit of that particular thing. Now you can, if you are getting it higher than 5 or you are getting it less than 5, whatever may be the thing, that means you are not getting the exactly required value. So this is your set point. It could, you are getting either the higher or the lower value in any case. So that you call as an error, and it could be a error on higher side and error on lower side. Then through the container, then through the controller, you are giving command to the effector. Now what is this command and what is this effector? Now these are the things through which you are giving the feedback to the system. Now through this controller, what you are going, you are giving this feedback to this particular system. Okay, that your input should be a little bit higher or it should be little bit lesser. This particular controller, it will calculate the error from the set point. Then he will give it to the effector. That means it will bring an effect ki okay, there is this much error, and then he will give the feedback to the system ki okay, if the value is higher than the required value, that means it will give the feedback ki value is higher, it is, we desire 5, we are getting 5.6, so it has to be reduced by 0.6. That feedback will given to this particular system. Now this again provide another input, it will reduce it by 0.6. So what is happening here? The system is getting its feedback and it is correcting itself. The system, it is running, then you are measuring it, then you are getting its feedback, and by the feedback you are again measuring, or you are again making the corrections in that particular system. So that is called as feedback system. Now it is very easier for you to understand what do you basically mean by feedback system. It is really very easy to understand what is basically a feedback system. And then again we go for the If an exogenous activity is available in a system, then it is said to be an open system. If the performance of the system depends on coupling and input and output, then it is called as feedback system. The performance depends between input and output itself. This is very much important definition. When you receive output as input, as a new input for a system, that is its own output, and that output is acting as an input for the new system. So that is a very most closer or most appropriate definition, which reaches its own output as an input, as a new input, its input as a new input, that you can call this as a feedback system. So this is all about feedback system. Now with this diagram we easily understand. Now you can see the examples here. Now autopilot, missile system and AC. So it is no need to explain all these concepts. We already know. Missile system. What the missile system does? Missile system targets. Suppose this is the target. So this is a particular launcher and this is the target. So this target it has to hit. Now when you set all the parameters, it will go it in this particular directions. Okay. Now it will give its feedback key. Okay, the target has been moved here. So again it will launch in it this direction. We already know in today's age it is not rocket science to know about the missile technology. So we know what do you mean by missile. Missile means a particular destruction device, a very huge, a very heavy destruction weapon which you can launch from a very remote place. That means you are sitting here and you can launch a missile which can go hundreds and thousands of kilometers depending upon the capacity and all the other parameters and factors, and then it is hitting a particular target. So it is very simple to understand. So that is missile system. Now what happens in the missile system? When you launch it and when you set up a particular target, it gets its feedback, and by the feedback it corrects itself. It corrects itself with the feedback itself. So that is a kind of application of feedback system. A missile, it will correct itself and then it will exactly hit the target. So that is one example. Autopilot we already understand, and we must have, well, though we haven't seen exactly the launch of a missile, but we must have all seen in certain movies. Autopilot is what? Autopilot it is generally in aircrafts. We have seen this. Well, it is applicable for every vehicle. As of today's age, we can see the autopilot cars or cars with no driver. That is not a new concept now. It has been tested, and within a very short period of time you can see the vehicles on the road running without a driver. So that is autopilot. Now when we talk about specific autopilot, we must have seen it in movies for aircrafts. So in aircraft there is one mode, that is an autopilot. That means wherein when a plane is moving in a certain directions, enough there are certain disturbances. So it will sense those disturbances and it will give its feedback, and after giving the feedback it can vary its direction, it can change its direction, or it can change its altitude, it can change its height, its speed, or any of the parameters. So what is happening here in autopilot? What is happening in autopilot? You are giving a particular input to the system that okay, your direction is set as this one, and in this direction if there are certain issues or you are deviating from it, then you are going to get the feedback. The auto feedback will be generated and the necessary required step will be taken by the system itself. The system will take itself the necessary action, and that will be a feedback system. Room temperature based AC. So there are certain ACs, they are available, you must have it. Some of you might be having it. It adjusts the temperature itself, right? Suppose you want the temperature that it should be in a particular range, and when the temperature of the atmosphere drops, then it will adjust itself. When it becomes too much cold, it will increase the temperature so that you should feel comfortable, and when it becomes too much higher temperature or little bit hot, it will decrease the temperature itself. So they are sensing unit, they will sense and they will give the feedback to the system, and that system will run as per that particular feedback. It will take its own decision and then will make the required corrections in the system. So these are three very beautiful examples, that is a missile system, then autopilot, and room temperature based AC. Now to represent a feedback system, you can simply write it like this. Suppose this is you are providing the input and this is a particular system. Now it is giving certain output, then here you are measuring the output, and here a particular device, it is comparing the output and giving the feedback to this system. Now the feedback after is given, then again its input is being modified. So that is a very simple diagram. You can directly draw it as you can show the system. You have to show a system, you have to show a parameter that is being measured, then some control over there, and then one device giving the output, and here you are going to get the feedback. As such, the diagram that we have seen that appropriately represents a feedback system. So this is the feedback system. Now next we go for, so we understand the feedback system today. Now we go for what is the need of modeling. So we have already discussed a lot about simulation. Now the same applies for modeling, because modeling is also one and the same thing, but where you are not producing the physical or mathematical model and you are going for numerical simulated model, that we call as simulation. But there can be n number of models, we have already seen it. So what is the need? Expose complexity of the system. Complexity of the system is, let us understand for this example. Suppose there is one equation, R is equal to, it has 1000 parameters. It has 1000 different parameters, or it has, suppose 1000 is very big. Suppose there is one component R, that is one factor R that you have to calculate, and it depends on 100 parameters. Now it is not possible to actually consider those 100 parameters and go for the actual experimentation. So what you can do, you can build a specific models to a scale, and then you can consider all those parameters. Now the relation between the parameters, R is equal to one parameter, it is square, plus second parameter, it is under root of second parameter, plus 3.6 lambda, and so on. So this could be a particular equation. So there are so many parameters in an equation, and then that would become a complex thing. So it exposes you to the complexity of the system. And if you vary one parameter, then what happens there? So you understand the complexity of the system by the modeling. Hence modeling is required to analyze the system. Now you have all these specific parameters. Now you talk about mathematical model, you talk about physical model, you talk about static model, but generally we talk about the dynamic model because it is changing with respect to time. It has very many applications. That doesn't mean static models do not have application. Yet dynamic applications we generally discuss about. So in dynamic applications, dynamic models, it is changing with respect to time. So you have to understand here certain parameters you can increase, you can decrease, and with that you can clearly analyze the system. So that is a very important part. Help to understand and monitor the system. And if you analyze the system, you can easily understand how it is working, and once you understand it's working, then you can easily monitor that. So that is a very simple thing. You can understand the complexity that is being exposed without actually going through all the trials and experience. Second part, to analyze the system. Third part, to understand, and once you understand, you can monitor the system. Helps to design, manufacture actual system. Now why we are all doing this? Because we want to design a system, we have to put it into application, we have to put it into use, you have to manufacture it, then you have to any kind of system that you have to manufacture it. So for that modeling is required because it helps in designing and manufacturing. Simulation may be possible. Now for so many systems, if you produce the modeling, with the modeling you can go for simulation. We have already stated an example. Suppose the water is flowing through water is flowing from the top of a hill or a particular turbine, and the turbine rotates at specific RPM. Now to the shaft of the turbine, the generator is connected wherein the electricity is being generated and is stored at a particular thing. Now you can, considering all the factors which you are representing and making the particular model representing the real life system, you can play with its factors, you can play with the parameters, and thus you can analyze and you can understand, and that will help you build the system. And you can also simulate that, you can also see actually how it is running, so you can get the accurate and exact readings. So that is need of modeling. Then need of modeling are again the advantages of modeling. Predicative rather than reactive. Predicative means with the system you can predict the performance. With the models you can predict the performance of the system. It will not react with the system. That means it is not reactive. Suppose for example, when you are talking about a system where you have to understand the behavior pattern of an aircraft at a particular height and particular condition of the weather. You can say the temperature, the pressure of the air, its humidity, and what altitude it is flowing. So you have to, the different kinds of winds, easterlies, westerlies, whatever it is. So at that particular parameters, what will be the flowing pattern or behavior of the specific aircraft. So you can perform those experiments with modeling. You can perform all these things, all this study with just building a model and considering the actual parameters, but it will not react with the system. That means it is not directly reacting with the system. It is not directly reacting with the system. So it is predicative rather than reactive. Very important point. Eliminate expensive and time consuming prototype development. Now if you want to suppose develop a specific prototype, it would be even time consuming, so better you go for simulation, better you go for modeling. Confidence in radial design, reduce defects, elaborate process. Now confidence in radial design, what does that mean? If you are going to design something and manufacture something, you have done your test, but if you go for modeling, if you go for simulation, then you are much more confident of that particular specific application which will be running there. You will be more confident about that particular thing. Now reduces defects, it is, but obviously it will reduce the defects, because once you study the system, it will be very easier for us to, once you study the system by simulation, by modeling, it becomes very easier for us to predict the behavior, to predict the performance and correct the errors. Elaborate process, that is again one and the same thing. You can understand the process with its complexity, with each and everything, which and every aspect, every task, every process, every reaction, whatever it is, every action, you can understand all those factors, so that becomes easier for you to elaborate this process. Now what are the principles used in modeling? Then what do you exactly mean by the modeling process? So there are certain things which we have to go through. So basically we'll just discuss them in short. We'll see them in details in the next lecture. So block building, relevance, accuracy and aggregation, these are the basic principles. These are the basic principles that are to be used in modeling. Block building, then relevance, then accuracy and aggregation. Aggregation, that is collection. Accuracy, that means hierarchy. Relevance means related things, and block building means you are considering how many factors, how many parameters that you have to consider in the development of a system, and how you are going to make a model out of it or understand it. So that is all about this particular thing. So what we have seen today, we have majorly seen today, what do you mean? These are certain components of modeling like transform, process, join. Then what do you mean by feedback system? And basically we are discussed the applications of the feedback system. It can be asked in the exam that what are the application of feedback system. So just mentioning name it not be enough, because you can write in, you have to first explain the feedback system by this definition, because this definition and this diagram would be very short thing. So you have to explain these applications in detail. Then we have seen the need of modeling, the advantages of modeling. Rest part, that is principles in modeling, and other things we'll see it in the next lecture. Till then, thank you class. See you in the next lecture. Okay, till then, thank you class. Good day. Jai Hind.